Bill Dellinger, Oregon. Long before shouts of "Go Pre" rang out at Hayward Field, Bill Dellinger was the man. An Oregon original, Dellinger was the first in the program's proud lineage of great distance runners. Running for legendary coach Bill Bowerman, Dellinger won the NCAA mile in 1954 as only a sophomore. When Bowerman encouraged him to run longer distances, Dellinger took up the challenge and won an NCAA crown at 5,000 meters, later establishing several American records in the event. Dellinger set the standard for future generations to come, then mentored a number of emerging stars as Bowerman's successor as head coach of the Ducks. What followed was a Hall of Fame coaching career. He's Oregon's OG. And tonight, Bill Dellinger, once again, is a Hall of Famer.
Well, he certainly put the first lump in our throat tonight on his original introduction. Here he is, Coach Dellinger, everybody. With Rudy Chappell, who ran for coach way back when, and Coach and Rudy got together earlier this week to talk about what tonight meant and maybe some questions worth asking. And so between us, we're gonna fire away and give you some answers from an original double-double. Hall of Fame as a coach, Hall of Fame as an athlete. And when you think of your running career, what are you most proud of?
Well, I should say that, and I'm speaking on his behalf because after Coach Dellinger's stroke, it's a little difficult for him to speak. So the first thing is he wants to thank everybody here involved with this induction on the great honor. He's incredibly grateful and wanted me to pass that on. In terms of his accomplishment as a runner that he most treasures, he told me that it is absolutely what he did in his last Olympic effort. He had been a runner at Oregon, won a number of national championships, set American records, world records, and had made two Olympic teams. And in 1960, retired after the Rome Olympics. He was done. He was ready to move on with the rest of his life, and he was going to start his career as a teacher and hopefully get into coaching. And then in 1963, he got the bug. He thought, maybe I can do this one more time. And a year out from the Olympic Games, he started training. And he knew it was going to be hard. He was working full time, and he knew he was going to be training himself. But lo and behold, a year later, he made the Olympic team. And then at the Olympics, he made his first final. And then at the Olympic Games, he won a bronze medal. And when he looks back, he looks at that and says, that was by far the thing he's most proud of, because he knew how hard it was going to be to do it on his own after 3 years of retirement, gaining a bunch of weight, and then committing once again to making it. And that's his number one accomplishment.
Fabulous. You had a special relationship with Steve Prefontaine. You coached him. He was in our first Hall of Fame class. We're in Eugene, where his spirit is still strong. There's recollections of memories of a memory. What made you two click so much that that relationship is still special nearly 50 years later?
I'll give it a go. All right. So the first thing that Coach Dellinger said was, you have to remember that there was a lot that they had in common. You were from Grants Pass and then Springfield. Pre was from Coos Bay. They were both high school phenoms, and they both had this dream to one day run for the legendary University of Oregon track program. And so that they had in common. And what he said really made the relationship work between them was trust. There wasn't anything that Steve was going to run into as a track athlete that Bill hadn't already gone through. And Bill had every bit of confidence that Pre would do everything that he would ask of him, training-wise and in races, to ensure success. So that trust never, ever wavered. And that was at the core of it. And the last thing that Coach Dellinger said about the pre-relationship is that he let pre be pre. Pre was a free spirit, and it was that free spirit mentality that allowed him to do the things that he did. And Coach Dellinger was the kind of coach that he made the adjustments, whether a kid was from the Bronx like Centrowitz, or Wayland, Massachusetts like Alberto, or Don Clary from Alaska. You have to make the adjustment, but at the core and at the foundation is trust, and that's what allowed that relationship to really thrive. So.
All right, Coach first. Now as an athlete, as a runner into our Hall of Fame. What are you most proud of? Can you separate the athlete from the coach?
You want to give it a go, or do you want me to try?
Go ahead.
This was the easiest one for him to answer. And as you know, you saw the video, he was a multiple American and world record holder. He was a national champion. He was in 3 Olympic Games and won a bronze medal. Those were all individual awards and accolades that he treasures. Really important. However, he loved being a coach more than anything else. He knew that when somebody came to the University of Oregon as an 18-year-old kid, that they came with a promise and a hope, and they were giving and trusting him to help fill that. Parents too. And he took that seriously, and over that 4 or 5 years of working together, he knew that a bond was created and that they were learning stuff that would help them later on in life. What he cares about most, and he pointed at me when I was asking this question, and he was looking at me, and he said, it's watching the runners and athletes that came through the program move on. Take their lessons that they learned through the relationship with him to then start their careers, get married, have families, develop their careers, and watching them all the way along as they developed their lives. That is what a coach does. You learn lessons through those relationships, and that's what mattered to him most. And I can say this, he didn't say this, but we know in Eugene we get a lot of major track events every year. At his house, which he's had for years and years, up at Hendricks Park, it's like they might as well put a revolving door in his house. It's old coaches, colleagues, but mostly old athletes, his athletes, that come and visit him. I live in Portland. Whenever I come to Eugene, which is often, I try to see him. And if I don't see him, I feel really guilty because he's my coach. And I was here almost 50 years ago, the very first time, and he's always going to be my coach. And it's those types of relationships that matter most, and that's why being a coach was the thing that he cares about most.
When it comes, When it comes to Oregon and track and field, they talk about the Mount Rushmore. Right there, his face is on it. He put the track in Tracktown. Coach Bill Dellinger, everybody.